Okay guys, today is the day we get to say goodbye and thank you to the Cornish Crosses. So rather than show you how we go through the process, I'm going to just show you guys our setup. For those of you that are interested in small operations and low cost input, literally I think we bought one thing specifically for this process. So let me take you around. We'll show you from a distance how our afternoon goes and then come back and give you the results. Oh, we started with 26 meat birds. We did lose 2. One got picked on, too bad, and the other one, heart attack. So we're gonna get messy and dirty. It's gonna be a long day, but we're gonna have fun. Todd's just getting the rope set up right now, so we hang them from this tree. After the deed is done, we have pillar 1, pillar 2, pillar 3 filled with ice. Okay, this bucket is just vinegar rinse. After their evisceration's complete, we'll just dunk them in the vinegar rinse and soapy water for our own hands and equipment. This here is our dunking tank that we use for scalding purposes. And the one thing that we bought is this bad boy. He works great, guys. So Todd just rigs up his power drill. We bought the plucker, and then somebody will trigger it while somebody holds the chicken and plucks the feathers. And it works wonders, does a great job. Finally, that's where the first step happens. We're gonna get going here really soon. Who wants to be first? I don't know if you guys can tell, but we have switched to the kill cone. It's our first year. We've had it ever since we've been doing chickens, so three seasons now, and we've never used it. It's just been something that didn't feel natural to us, and we switched to it this time, and we're actually finding how much nicer it is. So that's going to be our process for the second half.
It is the next day. The chickens have been resting in their coolers with ice for 24 hours now. It's always good to let them rest for at least 24 hours before you freeze them. We had talked originally about doing a lot of canning this time around, and deboning and pressure canning and canning the meat.
But I have so much other canning going on in the house right now, I don't have a canner to share.
Right. We can always circle back around later on if we decide, okay, we're completely out of canned chicken. We can always pull a couple out of the freezer, let them thaw, and then can them and process them that way. So today our next step in this process is to get them in bags. We have some shrink wrap bags.
Fit on my head. You look at these bags and you're like, how is a chicken gonna fit in there? But every year we're able to figure it out.
Yeah, they like the elbows and the legs, everything kind of tucks in and they fit.
After a little persuading.
Definitely a job that goes better with two people.
Todd said it's like the Spanx videos where you're trying to get it all up and in there. He's got to squeeze his butt.
So you put head first when you put them in the bags. Keep the feet towards the top. This one's got a big booty.
Okay.
So these shrink bags are pretty cheap. You can get them on Amazon. We'll make sure we have some in our Amazon store. Maybe 25 bags for about $10, I think it is. But most of the poultry bag manufacturers, they'll recommend 180 degrees to get the bag to shrink. We like to do them usually around 190. It seems to work a little better. We're at like 191 right now, so we should be good to start dipping. We got one cooler emptied and bagged, ready to go. All right, so the bag process. You have your chicken, you get them in the bag. We start by taking a straw and insert the straw, because what's going to happen is when we dip this bag in that hot water, this plastic's going to shrink, and there's air in there, and you want to get as much of the air out as you can. So that's what this straw is for. It's a vent to let all that air escape when the shrinking occurs. So put your straw in, twist it up as tight as you can get it, and then put a zip tie around the bottom, as close to the bottom as you can. If you like to use some pliers, you don't want to get your hands in this 180, 190 degree water. Dip them in. I usually dip for about 3 seconds, 4 seconds. Remove your straw and then tighten your zip tie the rest of the way, because it's not going to be tight because the straw this zip tie is bad.
Oh, it broke?
No, it's like it keeps coming loose. Oh. It's like a non-zippy zip tie. Anyways, you'll need to tighten your zip tie once you pull the straw back out, because the straw is taking up some of the space. And that sounds better. This one was missing the zip. There you go, just like you get from the grocery store, except you grew it in your backyard and you fed it. You took care of it.
Yep. Might not be as pretty as a grocery store.
That's pretty darn close.
Yeah. And then I like to weigh them and then just mark the top, how much it weighed. I should probably set it on. Yeah. Okay. This one is 5.93 pounds.
This one's a fatty. So they do make these bags in different sizes. Don't go too small when you're ordering them, because the whole point behind these bags is that they shrink. So if you buy a little bit bigger than what you need for your chickens, they're going to shrink anyways when you heat them up. It'll make putting them in the bags a lot easier. You set any record with this one?
Maybe. Oh my gosh. You gotta get that.
It's upside down. What's it say?
8.38. Dang.
We're on to the next cooler, getting them bagged up. One of the things I wanted to mention from yesterday was, I think when Rachel started off the video, was this our third season doing chickens? So this was our, is this one up? Our third season doing chickens, and every year up to this point, we've used the old school method of culling, where we would get a block of wood and a hatchet, promptly remove the head from the body, and then we would hang them from their feet upside down from the tree and let them bleed out. And that process seemed to work well for us. And we did purchase a cone, I think, a kill cone on our first year we did them, but I think we tried it for our ducks originally, and we tried to put our ducks in, and they like went right through and fell out the bottom, and we're like, okay, that didn't work. Let's try it for turkeys. And we tried it for our turkeys, and the turkeys wouldn't fit. But yesterday afternoon, I think we had like 10 chickens left or something. Rachel said, do you want to try the cone? Because we're proponents of experimenting and always trying something new to improve your processes. I said, sure, let's get out the cone, we'll give it a try. And it went well for us. The process of...
It didn't take 3 people, or 2 or 3 people to do the culling process. It was just...
Yeah, because before, you get one person holding the chicken, one person on the hatchet, and then another person is helpful to get them strung up into the tree, where with the cone and a knife, it's basically a one-person job, and it seemed to really speed up our process. It took some getting used to, for sure, dispatching a chicken by essentially slitting its throat. But we're convinced enough that we're probably going to invest in some more cones for next year's batch.
Yeah, because we were trying to keep it low cost input, that we didn't have to invest in a whole bunch of equipment. But seeing how much that sped up the process, if we had 2 more, it would go really quick.
Right. So if you're new to chicken processing and you want to keep your costs as low as possible, you don't really have to do the whole cone thing. You can just use a hatchet and just chop the head off like they did back in the day.
Ugh. Well, guys, we just wrapped up, and what was the total?
150.96 pounds, so 151 pounds of chicken.
Yes, we never did our totals before. We did give one away, and one of the chickens had a really bum leg back end, so we only kept the breast off of that chicken. So I'd say another 2 pounds on top of that, probably.
Yep.
And yeah, really happy with it. One thing that I didn't share with you guys, a change up. So our average was probably a 7.5 pound bird. We had a lot in the 8s and a lot in the mid 6s, and only 1 in the 5 pound range. And one of the changes that I did make was I fed them continuously. They just had free access to food from the time day 1 that I brought them on property till 24 hours before D-Day.
And they live for 8 weeks.
8 weeks. Yep.
8 weeks almost exactly to the day we raised them.
Yep.
Cornish Crosses was the breed.
So we do 1 batch a year, small batch, because mostly just the 2 of us, and that lasts us for the year. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and we'll be sure to answer them for you guys. Talk to you later.
Bye, guys. Good job.
Oh my gosh! I feel like it's gonna tear. Can you give me that?
Yeah. How are you going to carry all these? Oh my gosh.
I'm strong.